Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamu. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Jamunatiravanachari Jamunatiravanachari Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Gauda Nitai, Krishna Balaram, Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Shyam, Jaya Gauda Nitai, Krishna Balaram, Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Shyam, Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita as it is ki. Gaur Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme, Text 9. Kaviṁ purāṇam anuśāsitāram aṇor aṇīyāṁsam anusmared sarvasya dhātāram acintya-rūpam āditya-varṇaṁ tamasaḥ parastāt kaviṁ purāṇam anuśāsitāram aṇor aṇīyāṁsam anusmared sarvasya dhātāram acintya-rūpam āditya-varṇam tamasaḥ parastāt kaviṁ purāṇam anuśāsitāram aṇor aṇīyāṁsam anusmared sarvasya dhātāram acintya-rūpam āditya-varṇam tamasaḥ parastāt kavim, the one who knows everything. Purāṇam, the oldest. Anuśāsitāram, anuśāsitāram, the controller. Aṇoḥ, then the atom. aṇīyāṁsam, smaller. Anusmaret, always thinks of. Yaha, one who. Sarvasya, of everything. Dhātāram, the maintainer. Acintya, inconceivable. Rūpam, whose form. Āditya-varṇaṁ, luminous like the sun. Tamasaḥ, to darkness. Parastāt, transcendental. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as He who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and He is transcendental beyond this material nature. We'll do it together. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as He who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and He is transcendental beyond this material nature. Srila Prabhupada's purport. The process of thinking of the Supreme is mentioned in this verse. The foremost point is that He is not impersonal or void. One cannot meditate on something impersonal or void. That is very difficult. The process of thinking of Krishna, however, is very easy and is factually stated herein. First of all, the Lord is Purusha, a person. We think of the person Rama and the person Krishna. And whether one thinks of Rama or of Krishna, what he is like is described in this verse of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is kavi, that is, He knows past, present, and future, and therefore knows everything. He is the oldest personality because He is the origin of everything. Everything is born out of Him. He is also the supreme controller of the universe. He is the maintainer and instructor of humanity. He is smaller than the smallest. The living entity is 1/10,000th part of the tip of a hair, but the Lord is so inconceivably small that He enters into the heart of this particle. Therefore, He is called smaller than the smallest. As the Supreme, He can enter into the atom and into the heart of the smallest and control him as the supersoul. Although so small, He is still all-pervading and is maintaining everything. By him, all these planetary systems are sustained. We often wonder how these big planets are floating in the air. It is stated here that the Supreme Lord, by his inconceivable energy, is sustaining all these big planets and systems of galaxies. The word acintya, inconceivable, is very significant in this connection. God's energy is beyond our conception, beyond our thinking jurisdiction, is therefore called inconceivable, acintya. Who can argue this point? He pervades this material world and yet is beyond it. We cannot comprehend even this material world, which is insignificant compared to the spiritual world. So how can we comprehend what is beyond? Acintya means that which is beyond this material world, that which our argument, logic, and philosophical speculation cannot touch, that which is inconceivable. Therefore, intelligent persons, avoiding useless argument and speculation, should accept what is stated in scriptures like the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, and follow the principles they set down. This will lead one to understanding. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namaum Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarane. So here, the Supreme Lord, Bhagavad Gita, is being glorified as one that should be meditated upon, the Supreme Person, the one who knows everything. Krishna is the original Guru, the Supreme Master of all knowledge. He creates the material world, all the galaxies and universes. He expands himself as Lord Ananta to maintain everything is floating in outer space like cotton swabs. They're not falling down, just everything is very systematically floating and controlled. Parasya shaktir vividhaiva shruyate. The Supreme Lord has unlimited potencies and power. And mayadhyakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. He's controlling material nature. The material world is temporary, but it's our prison house. It's a place where we can try to find that happiness we're looking for. And there's so many varieties. From the demigods, very opulent life and long lifespan of hundreds of thousands. How long does Brahma live? 311 trillion, 40 billion years. We can't even imagine. In one day of Brahma, there's 1,000 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali Yuga. And Satya Yuga, the living entities are very pious, very virtuous, very elevated, living 100,000 years, and that age lasts like 1,700,000-800,000. And then Treta Yuga comes, and people, little virtue, become less virtuous, and some mixtures of desires may come. They live 1,200,000, they live 10,000 years, but the Treta Yuga is 1,200,000. Then Dwapara Yuga, deity worship, Lord Krishna appears in Dwapara Yuga, very elaborate. Still, there's virtue and people are much more spiritually inclined, and that Yuga is 800-something thousand years. And now we're in Kali Yuga, 432,000 years. So that's just one Yuga cycle, and Krishna appears in every day of Brahma. He comes as Lord Krishna, comes as Rama, comes in various incarnations, performing all kinds of incredible activities for the purpose of enticing us back home, back to the spiritual kingdom. But it's a very complicated nature, this goodness, passion, ignorance, mixing. Like a professional artist, he knows all the colors and all the various combinations. He get the proper texture so that the picture looks authentic. You know, he knows exactly what colors he's looking for by mixing the various three primary colors. So we're being mixed up with goodness, passion, and ignorance, mixed up with our desires. We have a certain kind of mind, a certain kind of intelligence. And Krishna's created this whole universe. And you want heavenly happiness? In the Vedic literatures, there's a description how to go to the heaven, how to enjoy in the Nandana gardens, and how to look for happiness. But even those who take birth in the heavenly planets, their life is exhausted, and many times they have to come back again to the earth to perform either further karmic activities. Many of those elevated souls, if they're not progressing in their Krishna consciousness, because it's described at the end of Brahma's life, Lord Brahma and all those inhabitants in Brahma Loka, those who have elevated themselves through tapasya, austerity, mantra meditation, different ages, there's different prescriptions for advancing quickly in the yoga system. We're very fortunate and unfortunate. Unfortunately, we're living in Kali Yuga, where there's degradation. People have no clue what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is pious, what is impious, what is religious, what is irreligious. Simply they're promoting the philosophy of eat, drink, and be merry. While you're young, enjoy, because you only live once. So this is the unfortunate situation of not having proper brahmanas or Vedic culture, and religion and irreligion, it's all based on speculation. So how fortunate are we to come in contact with a pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is present in his books, in his words, and we're having personal darshan of the Supreme Lord in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So it's a matter of us, how serious we are to know Krishna or to love Krishna. Generally, the mind rejects the simplicity which is being offered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They think, like a person who's sick, he goes to the doctor. If the doctor gives them some homeopathic tablets, there's no taste. You think, oh, these things, they don't work. But if he gives them some bitter medicine, oh, this is the real thing. So people sometimes prefer to undergo, austerity. So someone is performing great tapasya, great austerity, but if he doesn't have realization of God or love of God is developing, all he gains is a skinny body. The yoga system, which was recommended in previous ages, we don't have the life, longevity, nor the determination, nor the intellect to understand the intricacies of how to perform. Arjuna completely rejected the idea because the mind is very fickle, more difficult to control than the raging wind. I lived in Florida for many years, so we had a lot of hurricanes. And the hurricane means a lot of wind. And if you think you're going to control the wind, you're an illusion. The wind will pick you up and blow you away. So that's what the mind does, and the senses. We've been very faithful servants of our senses and our mind, and we've had godly bodies, human bodies, animal bodies. All varieties of bodies are available, 8,400,000 species of life. But one who's attracted to hear about the Supreme Lord, who utilizes his head to bow down to the Lord, his hands to, do kirtan, to make offerings to the Lord, his feet to take him to the temple of the Lord. He's fully engaged, all his senses, his sight, his smell, his hearing. And with faith, with shraddha, the beginning is some faith. We heard something about Krishna. We were either in distress, inquisitive, looking for some financial assistance, or inquiring about the absolute truth. We're called a gyata sukriti. That means that we're getting special mercy. Lord Chaitanya, he didn't consider who's fit candidate, who's not a fit candidate. He's giving this Harinam Sankirtan, this holy name, which is actually the conclusion of all sacrifice. That means if you've studied the Vedic literature and became proficient in chanting all the mantras, you're chanting all the mantras in a very nice meter and sounds very melodious, and you're performing the Agnihotras or the Yagyas and performing charitable work or performing your religious duties very perfectly. But the conclusion, the ultimate end of all these sacrifices is that attraction for the Lord, attraction for the holy name. And by chanting Krishna's holy name, one can fully engage his mind. He's 100% engaged in devotional service. Of course, by chanting and by hearing from the pure devotee, we become inspired that we should also participate in actively serving the Lord. Because Sankirtan is a beautiful and very appreciated way of serving Krishna, and Krishna is very happy that if you see other people in your family suffering, you know that someone is suffering from an incurable disease, that means birth, old age, disease and death, janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi, dukkha, doshanu, darshanam. Everyone has to suffer in this world because that flickering youth very quickly ends. What are the 6 stages? One takes birth, he grows, he stays some time, he produces byproducts, he dwindles, and he vanishes, he dies. But as we're hearing from Kulashekar Maharaj, in youth we have maybe some control of the mind and we have some clarity of thought. But as old age comes and all the joints become stiff and painful, you can ask some of the older people, isn't it? The knees, the hips, and everything seems to be, moving so much slower, and sometimes we're falling over, and then at the time of death, it's a very fearful situation, because right now we're thinking, life's okay, I have my family, I have my bungalow, I have some money in the bank, prasad is there, no worries. But ultimately, everyone has to leave this world. Everyone has to die. And when the body, pain becomes unbearable, the spirit soul leaves. You think, oh, he died peacefully in his sleep. Oh, so nice. But generally, what we do in this lifetime, at the time of death, we remember that. So our activities in this lifetime, we're molding our next lifetime. Yam yam vapi smaram bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. Whatever we remember at the time of death, that state will attain without fail. So if we're cultivating Krishna consciousness by participating in the chanting as Lord Chaitanya and the Panchatattva did, they were chanting and dancing. Whoever saw Lord Chaitanya would chant, Haribo, Haribo. And whenever in youthful age, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if he would cry, all the neighboring ladies would chant, Hare Krishna, Haribo. In this way, the Lord was inducing everyone to chant his holy names. It's a very sublime, simple method, but Kali Kalir Dharma Krishna Nam Sankirtan. The religion for this age is the chanting of the Lord's holy name. Otherwise, there's so many philosophies. People are very proud of, I have a new book, and it tells you about the metaphysical, how to become one with the cosmic consciousness. And as that bubble, you are the bubble. Once the bubble breaks in the ocean of cosmic consciousness, you become God like the rest of everybody becomes God when you realize that. So much mental speculation and philosophical deviation from mental people who are simply, like they call mental gymnastics, because you cannot conceive of the transcendental, the inconceivable, how you can understand what is beyond your ability to understand. You think, well, if God is so difficult to understand, then why bother talking about it? That's why we're making it simple. Krishna, according to one's ability, he's giving the formula. And in this Kali Yuga, Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sango Pangasra Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtan Praya Yajanti Hi Sumedasaha. One who has some intelligence, a little sensitivity to know, we know that the Lord is maintaining the universe, maintaining the planets, providing varieties of fruits and vegetables and seasonal changes, sunshine for heat, rain for the nourishment of grains, and all our necessities are provided for. Eko bahunang yo vidadati kaman. Krishna is providing everyone's necessities. But so we should not think that somehow or other we just appeared in this world and everything's happening by chance. Mother Nature, Mother Nature. So who has created the brain? Who has created the eyelids and the eyebrows and the ears and the nose and the teeth and the mouth and the fingers and hands and the ability to control the body, and then also desires, the intelligence to try to fulfill your desires? And why the male birds are attracted to female birds. All the various species of life have male, female, and they have loving children and emotions in human life. The family is everything. Nation is everything. My countrymen, you're not from my countrymen. Go back to your country. Go away. And this is really the bodily platform of life, because what are we? We're wearing different coats. Today I got a black coat on, brown, orange coat. We have many colors of clothing are there. It's just external covering. So the material body is a culmination of our activities and desires in this world. Mother Nature, under the direction of Krishna, Mother Nature doesn't work independent. The demigods don't work independent. Everything is working under the order of Krishna, the supreme controller. But he doesn't interfere. It's not that you think, well, Krishna can appear and by his wish he can straighten out everything. He acts like a human being, but he performs Herculean tasks. He performs something beyond anyone else, like marrying 16,000 queens and producing 16,000 palaces, and all bedecked with jewels and emeralds, and being present physically in each one of those palaces, and just creating the entire material existence. So Krishna, he cannot be understood by philosophers and mental speculators. It's by the mercy of Krishna, by the Guru, and he takes the shape of Guru. He's guiding us from within. Famous verse, sarvasya chahang hridisana vishto matat smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Because Krishna is a super soul. He's in our heart. And that we need faith. How do we know? We're hearing from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna speaking. And we have to have faith in the words of Krishna. Who are we going to have faith in? It's said, if you want to know who your father is, you ask the mother. She'll tell you. Not that you walk up to every person, are you my father? Are you my father? Or who are you going to ask about your father? So our father is Krishna and Mother Nature. Durga and Lord Shiva, they're maintaining this prison house. they give various benedictions to their worshippers, the demigods, through the power of the Lord, benedict their worshippers with wealth, beauty, power, riches, reputation, all the things that Krishna possesses in full. Materialists want that. Everybody wants a beautiful wife, a happy family, wealth, so they can pursue and satisfy their desires in this world. But all these are temporary, and they're diverting from the ultimate end. The end is old age, disease, and death. So you see, Prabhupada says, you see the old 80, 90-year-old men, they're still going to the nightclubs, wanting to enjoy the dancing and partying, you know. Let's have fun. But they can't move. Nothing works. And so the desire is still there. So how do we clean that desire? Cheto darpanam marjanam bhava mahadevagni nirvapanam. The heart is like a mirror. And if we put if all this dirt is accumulated on the heart in the form of lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy, all the movies are about that, isn't it? Is it the parents don't like the son-in-law, and then the people want the wife, and they kill the so-and-so, and they get the money. It's all about money, wealth, and sense gratification. Everything in this material world, people die to make some money and steal from one another. And even though in the name of family, oh, I love you, but if you stop producing and you no longer have the ability to provide, then they don't really care so much for you, put you in an old folks home or maybe drop you off on the street. I've heard that sometimes that the children would take the old mother and just drop her off in Vrindavan. See you later, Mom. I mean, that's very, beastly consciousness, obviously. But it's true that the respect is not there. That once you work hard your whole life thinking, I'm making for my family, that they're very happy, they're very comfortable for the future. What is the future? The future is you're going to die, your family members are going to die, everyone's going to die in this material world. So how to become deathless? Krishna's teaching, stop this cycle of samsara, birth and death, and speculating. Surrender. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnananas tattvadarshana. Surrender to the pure devotee. Render service. Ask submissive questions. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge to you because he has seen the truth. And we may think, well, how do we know the pure devotee is on this exalted platform of transparency? Because the Guru Parampara is there, Sadhu Shastra Guru. And Prabhupada said, look at, we turned hippies into happies, people who are very degraded in their behavior, very unclean, and with no purpose and goal in life, bewildered, miserable. Now they have a purpose and goal to serve Krishna. They're very happy. And they're achieving the highest perfection of human life and the ultimate destination, going back home, back to Godhead. And without developing love for Krishna, the love is there, but it's covered over. Without uncovering our true swarup, we've tried every single outfit in the store of karma, every single outfit, from beast to human being to demigods, but from the highest planet down to the lowest planet, all are places of misery. Repeated birth and death take place. But in a spiritual kingdom, everything is luminous. There's no need of sun or moon. Everything is, I say walk is dancing. All talk is like music and song. They have desire trees. They can fulfill Chintamani Dham, Kalpa Briksha. And we shouldn't think, oh good, I can fulfill all my desires to go to the spiritual world. These are transcendental experiences. Krishna's just so supremely beautiful, and just the sound of his flute is completely mesmerizing. the gopis lose all, thoughts of staying at home. When the flute is played by Krishna, it's magical. They give up their family members, they give up the culture, they give up any consideration of social custom and what is right and wrong. They're just completely attracted to Krishna with love. Not that we jump to that platform, but there are many beautiful prayers throughout the Bhagavatam, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, throughout all the Vedic literatures, glorifying the Supreme Lord, glorifying the Goloka Vrindavan, Vaikuntha Dham, and there's unlimited Vaikuntha planets because there's unlimited servants with unlimited flavors. Sometimes they advertise that one Baskin-Robbins, how many flavors they have? 27, something like that, 32. Some ice cream stores, they advertise, we have so many different flavors, it'll satisfy your desires. So in the spiritual world, unlimited Vaikuntha planets, unlimited forms of the Lord, and unlimited living entities living in a loving relationship with the Lord according to their desire and how they want to serve. Krishna is very liberal and he's ready to exchange loving. As we surrender unto him, he rewards us accordingly. Yeyatamang prapajate tang sataiva bhajamyaham. As we want Krishna, if we're eager to follow the footsteps of the gopis, if we're eager to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees that are associates of the Lord, the cowherd boys, or even the mood of Nanda and Yashoda, just loving Krishna as a child, the motherly love is very strong, very intense, the fatherly love. Or just being a servant of the Lord in Vaikuntha, they're very satisfied just with awe and veneration, just they're feeling complete satisfaction just praying to the Lord and serving him in the majesty, like royal opulence, like Dwarka. But in Vrindavan, Krishna appears in Vrindavan, he brings Goloka Vrindavan here to Vrindavan. And those who have the opportunity to hear the truth of the Lord, the beauty of the Lord, the temporal nature of this world, we're being cheated by the mind, we're being cheated by the senses, we're being cheated by the blind leaders, the blind leading the blind into the ditch of repeated birth and death. So we should think that I can do it. It's not that we cannot do it. We can do that. We can go to the temple. Yes, I need to take rest early so I can get up early and go see the beautiful artik of Shri Shri Gaura-Nitai Krishna Balaram, Lalita Vishaka Radha Shama Sundar. Come for the Guru Puja. Sing praising the Guru, that's praising Krishna, praising the fact that he's opening our eyes, born in the darkness of ignorance. We have no proper guidance. We can't on our own achieve the happiness. That happiness is not there. It's illusory. Like in the desert, there's no water in the desert, but you think there is. So we go further and further in the heat and exhaustion and simply burn and die in the desert. So the material world is like that. Imagine being dropped in the middle of the ocean. You fell off your cruise ship. You were having so much fun, but you fell off, and they didn't even notice it, and you're just all alone in the middle of the ocean. I don't care if you're an expert swimmer. I don't care if you're Tarzan. You're not going to make it. There's nowhere you can go. You're in the middle of the ocean. We're stuck in this ocean of material existence. But somehow Prabhupada has thrown us a life preserver. Now we're not going to sit there, well, should I take that preserver? Maybe there's somebody else more qualified to give me another preserver. You're drowning. And then we see by Prabhupada's personal behavior and the accomplishments, no human being can perform these jewels of literatures. Imagine the Srimad Bhagavatam is available for us to read and relish in the association of devotees. The Bhagavad Gita is present. Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord's incarnation, Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratveshe Namaha. The Lord became very, very merciful. He's merciful, but He came extremely merciful, the most merciful. Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya, and they brought the treasure of the holy name. So we need to believe it, that okay, I don't like so much chanting, just chanting, my mind is bored, Yes, we keep doing the chanting, keep hearing, keep seeing the deities, offering flowers with some devotion, bowing down, offering dandavat, surrendering our life before the deities. What is it? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanavedanam. These are some of the simple procedures. Srila Prabhupada said that we should, this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Prabhupada said you should read it, then read it again, then read it again. And repeatedly read the nectar of devotion. It'll give you the instruction on how to behave, what to do, what not to do, and understand how Krishna consciousness blossoms and develops. So it's not that we're just saying read, chant, but they say can't. We can't do it. I got my mind is too distracted. I got to do this. We have so many duties, wants, and needs, and we put before that. But we should regulate. That's what the yoga system is, a regulation, linking with the Supreme. See the deities. When we're chanting the prayers, chanting the holy name, pray to Krishna. My dear Lord, somehow or other I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of suffering and engage me as one of your servants. Because we're servants of Krishna. Jivara Swarupoy Krishnera Nityadas. We're not servants of our nation, servants just of the family, servants of our desires. We are Jivara Swarupoy Krishnera Nityadas. And I was speaking during the Vyasa Puja of Hanuman Prasad Maharaj that Kula Shekhar was saying, I want to become the servant of 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 the Lord. Mentioned 7 times. Appreciating the Guru Parampara and recognizing his position that I am a servant. And when that mentality is so difficult to obtain, because to become tolerant, humbler than the grass, people are trampling on the grass, and still during the cold weather it's out there by itself, and the tree is tolerant and ready to offer respects to others. In that state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord. Krishna is called Dina Bandhu, the friend of the poor. So these qualities are not artificial. If we're enthusiastically reading, I like reading out loud, because when you're reading out loud, you're using the tongue, the eyes, the ears, plus helps keep you awake so you don't fall asleep so easily. And really try to envision, every day you're reading so many beautiful translations, and every book that we're reading now, Bhagavad Gita, I want to read that again. Okay, then go on to the Bhagavatam. And every day you make a enthusiastic endeavor to enhance your Krishna consciousness. It's not simply by our own efforts. Krishna's giving you the intelligence if he sees you want to do that. And he gives you the energy in order to accomplish that. I am the ability in man. It's not that, okay, I'm going to work my way back to the spiritual kingdom. No, it's by grace. It's by Krishna's mercy and by the Guru's benediction. But you cannot achieve that unless you have utsaha nishchayat daryat tat karma pravartana. Enthusiasm, determination, patience. You're sick, you have a very severe disease, ailment. The doctor gives you medicine, he gives you prohibitions, you can't eat this, you can't do that. And if you're really, really aware of how sick you are, and you take the doctor's advice seriously, then you will get better. But don't quit too soon, otherwise there's a relapse. We're like, how you say, nurturing our bhakti lata bij by chanting, by hearing, by associating, by trying to have the proper mentality, serve the devotees, really recognize that Krishna is giving me here an opportunity to stop my repeated cycle of birth and death. Come back to Him. Have faith. Krishna will give us the strength. We shouldn't think, oh, I'm just, a lowly person. But there are many examples. Even Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family. He felt unqualified. He wouldn't even take the darshan of the deity. He had to have a hut outside. He would just see the flag from a distance. Even Sanatana Goswami, he didn't want to walk where the Brahmanas are walking. He took the hot sandy path and burned his feet. But this is real humility. These are exalted personalities, but they're feeling themselves humble. We don't artificially become humble, but we really try to imbibe the godly qualities, and they will naturally develop. But it's called jnana vairagya. Gyan means we're hearing from the Guru, we're reading the scripture, we're rendering service, then it becomes vigyan, realized knowledge. And then vairagya, renunciation. You lose taste. I don't want to be here. I don't want to go to the nightclub. I don't want to hang out with people who are just, talking prajalpa and simply interested in sense gratification. I want to be in the kirtan. I want to see the deities. I want to take prasad with the devotees. I want to hear the Lord's pastimes. And then as we do that more and more, then it becomes sweeter. The jaundice of material desires, because it tastes bitter right now, I might not have the taste for regulation, but follow the regulation, take the medicine of chanting the holy name, then it'll become sweeter and sweeter. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. People say, oh, so-and-so has been following for 50 years and look how fallen he is. We're not here to judge anyone. We just want to look at ourselves and see if we can lift ourselves to the becoming a servant of the servant of the servant. This way, Krishna will give us the intelligence. Anyway, Bhagavad Gita is beautiful. There's many, many points. I just went around the idea that the Lord is inconceivable. He's the master of everything. He's our friend, a maintainer. And by the process of chanting Krishna's name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In the last pages of the Krishna book, in the purport, at least 4, 5, 6 times, Prabhupada chanted the whole Maha Mantra. He said, simply by chanting this mantra, all your perfection is available. So we have a few minutes if anyone has any questions or comments. Hope I didn't scare everybody that we're going to get old, diseased, and die. It's just a reality. When you're in youth, these talks don't really settle in unless you're fortunate. Prahlad Maharaj was speaking to all his class friends, saying, now's the time. Take up this process from the very beginning. Or whenever you take it up, there's no loss. Neha bikaramo nashosti pratyavaya navidyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahatobayat. On this path, there's no loss or diminution. Any question or comment? Everyone's happy. That's good. That's good. Yeah, we had a nice gathering today appreciating the Vyasa Puja of Maharaj. And Srila Prabhupada, he left his family, but he said, now Krishna's given me even a better family, all of you, to help. My Guru Maharaj has sent all of you to help me in this mission of spreading Krishna consciousness. So we should all see how we can be instrumental, even if we're just ourselves, working on ourselves, we're being helpful by being participant in this preaching mission. It's like, the energy, the kirtan, the Lord, whether, we're high or low, ordinary sweeper, cleaning the floor, doing puja, sankirtan, administration, whatever it might be, somehow or other, just bow our heads, hear about Krishna, chant about Krishna, and if we do it more and more and more in the association of the devotees, Krishna will give us inspiration how we can further advance. If we don't know, just keep reading, keep chanting, and just stay confident that Krishna, He'll carry what we lack, preserve what we have, and carry us and really relieve us. Ultimately, sarva dharman parityaja mamekang sharanang vraja ahang tvang sarapapebhyo mokshayashyami masuchaha. So the most powerful living being, the Supreme Lord, is giving His protection, that just surrender to me, give up all your ideas of religion and mental speculation and everything, and I'll protect you. Do not fear. And one last wonderful shloka. Manmanabhav madbhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mami vasyasi satyam te pratijani priyosame. Think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your prayers to me. Thus you'll come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you're my very dear friend. So Prabhupada is a friend of everyone. Krishna is the friend of everyone. And we're under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada here at Krishna Balaram Mandir. Since none of you asked any questions, we'll finish the class here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki. Hare Krishna.